Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Not Another Fightcast. I am Andy the Icon Burrows, and sadly again we're without our co-host, Mr. Phil, PC commentary Canada. But I'm not alone today, and that's what most people will be bloody happy about hearing. I am with one of this island, this Great Britain, one of the top mixed martial artists, Mr. Rico'Bon Franco. Rico is a top amateur mixed martial artist, top professional mixed martial artist, fighting in shows such as M1, fighting shows such as ACB, and he is now going on to compete in inverted commas the new sport of bareknuckle boxing, which is actually probably one of the oldest combat sports that we have. And he is now the BKB World Champion after beating the outstanding Jimmy Sweeney in a stunning fight at BKB 19. So Rico, how the hell are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good, mate. Thank you. Training hard as always. But just making the most of this time in lockdown. So yeah, it's going good.
It's a very, very strange time. We had this conversation. I was talking to Smudger last week, and we were talking about this lockdown, how strange it, how difficult it is to train. Are you keeping busy, ticking over, or still working hard?
I am, yeah. Yeah, at first I was kind of like worried, how I'm going to be bored. I'm going to put weight on. I'm going to I'm going to get worse, you know what I mean? But I've kind of like gone in reverse, and I'm like, I'm in better shape than I have been in like fight camps, and I'm training harder than ever, really, like, because everything's in my back garden now. I've got like everything I need. I've got a good punch bag. I'm doing pads and stuff like that. So obviously I'm doing like triathlon kind of things in between. So I ain't got to travel like 4-hour round journey to the gym all the time. So I've kind of got that recovery in. So everything's going really good, to be honest. Like my weight's good, everything. So yeah, it's going better than ever, weirdly. But you got to stay as positive you can, really, and take positives out of it.
No, I totally agree with you. I was talking to one of the guys I have an input into coaching, a guy called Troy Gibson, who's Clan Wars welterweight champion, and he was saying, like, what's training going? I said, like, I actually haven't had so much structure to my training in like 2 years. I'm able to go out on a bike, I'm able to work on kettlebells, work on stuff that I hadn't done in a long time, and actually improve in a time where you didn't think you were going to get a chance to improve. So you and I probably have a bit in common there, where you've just thrown yourself into trying to get over training and stay positive and focus on something different rather than reading the news and scaring the fuck out of yourself with everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's another thing. I took this time to like work on like a few weaknesses as well. Do you know, like I didn't like, I wasn't crazy on weights during like fight camp, but I've started to do like more conditioning weights, more like ab workouts, like more, body weight exercises and things like, I've been working a lot on stretching as well, which is good for recovery. So I'm just working a few different things, like head movement and stuff like that. So everything's, things like your weakness and you don't really work like you say, it's good to work now.
Yeah, when you have time, you have time, as you said, they're working on things that you class as a weakness. Even if you think that at the time, we all do, we focus more on our strengths because we're good at them and we like doing them. But as you said, you have this time to work on weaknesses. You identified strength and conditioning and also things like head movement. That's a good caveat. We're talking last week, as I say, with Dean Smudger Smith, and he discussed what we were talking about bare knuckle boxing and the difference between having no gloves on and having gloves on. And he rightly pointed out that he has adapted his style and his head movement to suit not having gloves on. Would you say you've done the same, or do you think MMA with 4-ounce gloves on has assisted you with the same head movement?
Yeah, like at first, I didn't know what to expect, but then after a couple of fights, I just adapted so well. But that's definitely from the MMA background, because I'm used to like doing bits of sparring in MMA gloves, 4-ounce glove, and obviously fighting in 4-ounce, 6-ounce gloves. So that it wasn't like a big shock to me when I did bare knuckle without the gloves. It's definitely more of a shock if you take, because sometimes when we spar, we'll spar in big boxing gloves and then take them off and do MMA gloves, and like you've got to take you a few rounds to get used to it. So
even the speed difference.
So from a boxer to just go straight from boxing to bare knuckle, I think that's a big jump. Like I think it'll be a big shock for a lot of people. So that's why I think, the MMA guys are doing pretty good in it. to be fair.
They are, and an example of that was whenever you saw Paulie Malignaggi, former world champion, cross over and take on Artem Lobov, you know, and you could see Lobov's, his adaptations were made faster than Malignaggi. Malignaggi's a far slicker, more intelligent boxer, but with gloves on, not without gloves. And you saw Paulie hurting his hands, not getting used to this, not, you know, shelling up, expecting to be able to take shots that you can't take because the angle of your hands are smaller, gaps are like tighter, and Artem picked him apart, ultimately beat the life out of him in that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can't like just cover up like boxing because you're just going to get bust up real bad. So yeah, it's like it's kind of in the middle of MMA and boxing. It's kind of like a hybrid of the both, and it works perfect for me. I love it.
Yeah, I absolutely adore it. Yeah, I absolutely adore it.
Wow.
So you have quite an extensive combat sports background. So what was your first, when you dipped your toe into the big ocean of combat sports, what was your first sport?
Originally it was boxing, just like I was just going like once to 3 times a week. I was just going to like some amateur boxing gym. I was just like a little chubby kid. Just I just love hitting the bag and hitting pads and stuff, and like to see guys in the gym like sparring and stuff like that. I was like, it was like motivating, inspiring me, and I was like, I really want to do this. And I was just like, can I spar? And the guy was just like, nah, no, not yet. You're not ready yet. And in my head, I was just like, right, I'm gonna like go running. So yeah, it was kind of like just a build up from there. Then eventually, I went to an MMA gym, and then I wasn't keen on the grappling, but I started doing a bit of grappling. And the next minute, I'm just training every day MMA. So that's where it kind of started. Yeah, it's been a mad journey, really. But yeah, I'd say about 9-10 years ago. About 10 years ago, I started.
So what age are you now?
I'm 27.
So you started, it's only 17. 16, that's crazy.
18, yeah. It'd have been good to start a little bit earlier, maybe, because they are now, because the generation's starting earlier. So it's pretty cool to see. I mean, you can see 5-year-olds doing jiu-jitsu, which is mint. Really good to see.
Yeah, you're seeing guys and girls, like wee tiny kids practicing arm bars, triangle. But even then, you have to think about how flexible that's teaching this child to become and use their body in the correct way that we're designed as a creature to use. You know, whenever I was younger, we didn't have that. You know, realistically, I didn't start training until I was 18 or 19, similar to yourself. And then, you know, it's a very steep curve after that. I say curve, it's a fucking vertical hill you're virtually starting on.
It is.
So did you have any amateur boxing fights, or did you just dive straight into amateur mixed martial arts?
No, I went straight into mixed martial arts. At first I wanted to box, but then when I joined this MMA gym, I just seen like I was watching more MMA fights. I got a tap out t-shirt, and that was it. I wanted an MMA fight, and I kind of trained for about a good year, just over a year, I think it was, like training every day, consistent. And the next minute, my coach, Dan Gibbon from Gainsbury, was like, listen, someone's pulled out of a fight at Liverpool Olympia, it was. And then this was about maybe 7 years ago. I think I'd just turned 18, actually, on my first fight. It was a day after or day before my birthday. And I took this fight. It was like, must have been on 6 days' notice. And I was just like, yeah, I'll fight. I just like, you know, I didn't know what to expect, and I'll never forget it because I was absolutely like crapping myself, and I didn't realise until I seen Terry Etam in his corner, UFC guy, and there's this like massive like Anthony O'Connor, he was called. You probably know him. He's in the pro ranks now, but it was this big beast across the cage, and I'm like there shitting myself, and then I managed to go 3 rounds. I was rolling out of arm bars. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, but yeah, it was a mad experience. But then I lost the fight on decision, and then I was like, I'm really competitive, so I kind of just like, right, I need another fight. I need to win. You know what I mean? So I lost my first 2 fights, and then I went back to the gym. And normally, a lot of people that would just break and they'd call it a day. But I wanted to carry on. It motivated me more, and to be fair, it probably did me good to lose. And then that first win felt amazing. So yeah, I won the 3rd amateur fight, which was a really good feeling.
No, that's crazy. You said something there that I think a lot of people miss. You said you probably learned an awful lot more from losing your first 2 fights than you did if you just won them. If you look at boxing, I'm drawing a parallel here between boxing and MMA for the sake of this. Is if you look at Sky commentator now and former world cruiserweight champion Johnny Nelson. If you look at Johnny Nelson, the start of his career, the amount that he lost until he really found the groove, and all those times he was losing, he was picking things up and changing his style to what we knew, what we saw later on in his career. But he was defeating guys like Carl Thompson, and so I don't think that anything that you said there is strange or outlandish. I think it's probably more beneficial if you start out low and you realize then I'm not working, as we discussed off the air there, about working on your weaknesses and stuff like that too. You've got weaknesses and to work on, not just, oh great, I finished them with a straight right or left hook to the head. I'm just going to keep trying that and keep doing that and keep doing that. And we see loads of times guys and girls keep doing that, and it falls. When they do fall flat, as you say, they don't want to go back to that. They don't want to feed that shit again. But you obviously have moved on. So do you remember where your third fight was? Did you win?
Yeah, it was on FCC show down in Bury. They're at Bolton now, FCC, but Full Contact Contender. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah. I think some of the guys out of IFS that Jimmy coaching have fought on it.
Yeah. So the first 2 shows I was on. So I lost the second fight. It was like 30 seconds guillotine, and then the third fight it was in Bury again, and then I was against James Reese at 66 kg, same day weigh-in. I don't know how I made that. And then I won third round. It was arm triangle. So it was pretty. It was a submission, which I'm not really. I want really. That wasn't my strength.
Yeah.
And to win by submission were pretty cool. Yeah.
That's pretty
so
impressive.
It was a good little scrap. Yeah.
I was looking through earlier on, doing a bit of research on you, and I saw that a couple of you, one initially as on Tapology, but you since corrected me, that you have a twister win.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I have 3.
That is insane. A hat trick of twisters. How many people do I think have a hat trick of twisters? I don't think it exists yet. That's pretty fucking impressive.
I know a few people's got 2, but very rare. I don't think no one's got 3 except me, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it was, that was me coach. My coach Danny Mitchell. He did one in Bellator, which were pretty sick. And he's won by 2 twisters, but he was he basically did a seminar at our gym, AVT, and he was like, right, if anyone gets a twister in a pro fight, I'll give you 50 quid. And I don't know, it just kind of happened. I just kept drilling it after this seminar because it made sense. And I was like, I'm keep getting everyone in this like banana split kind of move. And obviously in training, you got to be careful, but I just pulled it off in the fight and I was like, no way, this is sick. And
did he give you the 50 quid?
No, he still owes me it.
Bastard. That's brilliant. No, it's just like, it is literally like the holy grail of submissions. For anybody who doesn't know what a twister is, I advise you to go and Google it, and don't try it on your friends if you're not involved in MMA or grappling, because it's a seriously difficult. It's a spine lock.
It is a horrible move to get in.
Yeah.
Obviously, like when you're locked down in that position, it's horrible.
No, and it leaves you very little to tap with as well, other than to basically just scream out in terror and pain.
Yeah.
It's very. You can look it up. You can find it in freestyle wrestling as well. In freestyle wrestling, in certain branches of freestyle wrestling, it's called a guillotine. Literally, as you're separating the body in 2 halves, and it's designed to be worked into a pinning combination, or to allow the guy to put their shoulders on the mat. But in jiu-jitsu or in pro MMA, if you hold that up ever so slightly and apply more pressure, it's an instant tap. It's a terrifying move, but a fucking great submission. I can't believe you 3 of them.
I know, it just comes on instant. Like, you don't know it's going to come on, and next minute the spine's just going to pop.
Oh, it's a fantastic finish. So you then you moved from your amateur days into the professional mixed martial arts world, and within professional mixed martial arts, what I always describe to people more, they're worried about the rule changes. They're talking about, okay, you're allowed elbows now, you're allowed knees to the head now. I never found that a difficulty. What I always found was more important for the fighters was the time difference, the extra 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Just them 2 ounce from the amateur gloves to pro it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And obviously there's less padding, there's more like mobility in your hand and stuff. So yeah, you got to find the range again a little bit more. So yeah, it definitely does make a difference, especially with elbows and things like that. So yeah, it's
I actually found today an old pair of my old pro MMA gloves, and there were these makeup gloves. I don't think they're around anymore. They were called Viper, and I was like, there's like nothing in them. There was, you know, I know obviously they probably were 4 ounces somewhere on this thing, but it's like a red knuckle covering. I'm like, my God, these are crazy. But yeah, that makes a big difference. Jump into the pro rank, the time scale makes a bigger difference. Did you change your fitness regime, or did you find that you just worked harder in the gym when you wanted to move up to being a pro?
Yeah, basically, I thought, you know, I need to start stepping. I need to stop. I start, you know, taking it a bit more serious. I was taking it serious, but like I would have fighting every couple of weekends. You know what I mean? But then, yeah, I got to maybe how many pro fights? I've had 10 pro fights. I probably got to like 9 fights in, and then I started taking it properly. Because when I got to pro, I was still taking stupid fights that I shouldn't have been taking, really. But one of them things, and like I fought on M1 Global in Russia on 2 weeks' notice, or 1 week's notice when I had an injury. But I thought, when am I going to get a chance to fight on M1 in Russia?
But also, that's one of the things I think that a lot of guys, like you had Ali McLean on. He's a coach in Rico'Bon and a brilliant fighter from here too. He still trains in Rico'Bon, and hopefully we'll see Ali back. And he was saying the same thing. He had an opportunity to fight in Brazil, and he was like, I don't care about the money. When am I going to get to do this again? And he basically told the story of like living in an airport like fucking Tom Hanks for like 3 days, living in this fucking weird Brazilian airport. So I understand that, you know, and from a guy who's had an opportunity to bugger off to different places across the planet and do the same thing, I totally agree with you. You're never going to see these countries. Like, you're not going to go, you know where I'm going to go for a holiday this year? Russia. No, you're fucking not. You know, as beautiful as Russia is, don't get me wrong, any people from Russia, it's a wonderful country and beautiful. I've met lovely Russian people, but it's just not a great British holiday destination.
Yeah, we went to Moscow and then to Orenburg, and it wasn't like no tourists. So yeah, it was a mad experience. Everyone's like staring at you like, what are you doing here? But yeah, the Trettles, that show, Trettles like royalty, and it was like real good. You know what I mean? Crazy, but yeah, them Russians are mad.
You know what? Any Russian people I've met, I've really, really liked, because they're that crazy. They're just like a lovable mad person, and I love that about humans. That's why, you know, I think maybe because of the world you're meeting them in a combat sports world. There's that machismo, there's that understanding between the two. That it doesn't matter what language you speak or where you come from, you have this bond in some way that you like beating the fuck out of each other and getting strangled. So
yeah, that's it. Definitely, it's good experience.
Oh, wonderful! You can't pay for that sort of a life experience either. So you fought in M1 Global, gigantic Russian organization. Ian Freeman used to commentate for them, didn't he? Remember Ian Freeman?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he was a commentator for them.
So, yeah, he looked after us, Ian. When we got to Moscow, basically me and Danny couldn't go with my coach because he had trouble getting a visa because I can't remember what happened now. But anyway, one of my other mates come and we ended up missing the first we went to France, and the other flight was like an hour, and then we ended up missing it. It was like 2 minutes late, and they won't get us on. So Ian had to like message the promoters to try and sort us another flight. We managed to get a flight, but it must have been 2 days, like 48 hours of traveling, no food. Like I couldn't eat because I was cutting weight, and it was crazy. So we met Ian in Moscow in the end, and we got a flight to Orenburg. But it was we literally got to Orenburg just as the weigh-ins, and I was like a skeleton. I was like shot through. Oh, it was bad, real bad. I was absolutely like drained. But yeah, I had a bit of an injury for that as well. But the guy's in the UFC now. He was M1 champ. So yeah, he's like 8-0. Roman Bogatov, he's called.
Bogatov, yeah.
Bogatov, yeah. He's a really good wrestler. I think he was like wrestling champion or some. Yeah, they kept calling out all these things. Like,
you were sitting there going, oh, fuck, it's in Russian. I don't know what they're telling me. I don't know many people he's beat the shit out of now.
Just turned up and they kept reeling off all the champion of this, champion of that. I'm just there like, oh yeah. Yeah, I couldn't really get going, but I did all right, and I nearly got a guillotine on. I watched it back, and I can remember I pulled this guillotine on, and he stood up, and I still had it locked on. And if I just pulled back, I reckon, I could have got it 100%. I reckon I could have got it, but I bottled it because he was going to slam me, and I thought that could have tightened it up even more. But
yeah. Now, but even then, anybody who's ever put on a standing guillotine and then been lifted, nobody tells you, oh, do you know what to do? Just keep holding on to that. No, let it go straight away. Yeah. Like, you can just,
he's going to probably knock me out by slamming me.
Yeah. On the way down, your life flashes in front of your eyes. This is a great idea. Actually, no, it's a fucking terrible idea. By then, it's too late.
Yeah, he got me in a dash choke literally last 10 seconds of the first round. So, it was a bit gutted, but I was absolutely
great experience.
Yeah, definitely.
You went on then from M1, a gigantic, as I said, Russian organization that's actually all over that sort of old Eastern Bloc, to competing then in ACB, another Russian-based organization, which is Absolute Championship Bekrut, and that is another enormous organization. Enormous. How did that come about? How did you end up there?
Basically, the first one was my coach is in with. He knows a lot of the promoters, obviously, and he's basically they had a show. It was meant to be in like America or somewhere. I don't know. It was meant to be somewhere, but then it got moved to Sheffield Arena.
I remember this.
And it was literally, they had like 2-3 weeks to fill it, and I basically took a fight on 2 weeks' notice against Antonio Sheldon. It was, and then it was. Obviously, there wasn't no camp really or out for it, but I fought on that. It was a great experience. They treated you really good. Frank Mir, Herb Dean, was everyone there. So, it was good to fight. And then the second time, it was a 24-hour notice in Italy, ACB in Italy. And it was a big arena, and there was like 50 people there probably. And it was like UFC the other day. There was like no one there. Yeah. It was mad.
Dreadful.
So it was, it was a good experience fighting on there as well. I had a good little fight against someone who was like 10-1, I think. So it was, both times, second round I lost submission. So that's where, So I think after that one, I kind of, I took a little step back and thought, I need to start taking this serious because I'm taking stupid fights in my pro game, and I'm losing when I know I can win. I just need to like start taking camps properly, work on my wrestling and grappling. So that's what I did for like probably 2 solid years. And like my wrestling now is like, he's gone to a different level. So I'm looking forward to testing it out again. So
where are you training? What MMA gym are you training out of now?
ABT in Leeds.
ABT?
So
what's that stand?
Yeah, ABT. Asylum Valet Tudo, it's called.
Class.
With head coach Danny Mitchell. He was in the UFC. And then we've got like Mark Dykes, he trains there. He's in the UFC. Yeah. Scott Askham, KSW champ. He trains there sometimes. There's like, there's so many pro fighters that are like all different varieties. So it's really good to train. Get some good training in there. So it's
obviously a place where you're not going to fail to get any better in. KSW is one of those shows that desperately interests me because obviously it's a huge European show. They do the razzmatazz of like virtually like a professional wrestling outlet, and they still have the sort of freak fights. Our own Norman Park from here is KSW champ. He's a fantastic talent. Didn't get in my opinion, didn't get any of the respect he deserved when he was competing in the UFC. He got treated a bit like shit by them. But he's proven his pure unadulterated skill by going on KSW. I really like that. And do you think KSW would be a good fit for you, or are you aiming to like Bellator, UFC, or?
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely love to get on KSW because just like the way like they'll treat you, they pay you good. Like the show is like phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? Like they put so much show into it for the fans. Like, it's crazy. Like Danny said, he couldn't believe it. Like, they're coming out in like supercars. But yeah, definitely interests me. Definitely fighting on there. That'll be really good.
Yeah,
yeah, somewhere like Bellator.
And I think as well, because it's a European promotion, I know everybody aims at the UFC and they think that that's the holy grail of MMA. But to me, at the minute, there are other shows with my co-host here, Phil Campbell. He's one of the commentators in Brave Fighting Championship, which again is a unbelievable organization, gigantic organization.
Yeah.
And you have other, Far East organizations like One FC and stuff like that springing up who are really
One FC.
Fabulous show, knocking on the door of UFC, especially when you're getting guys traded over like Demetrius Johnson. You have obviously Lawler, sorry, not Lawler, but you call him Sage Northcutt and stuff like that moved over there. So you're not, there's no drop in talent, skill level or anything like that. So I think people could fish in a wider pond and aim outside of the UFC. I think KSW being European, and I think that's a good fit for us guys over here. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. That's the plan, like the goal. I want to try and get on some big European shows like KSW, even like One FC. That'll be insane. But it's a long way. But
be a dream come true though, doing something like that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Getting paid to like do something you love and travel the world while you're fighting that's my goal anyway. So definitely, like UFC is not really. I'm not even like asked about that, because I've took stupid fights and I protected my record or like that. So, to get in UFC, it's going to be easy if you like get a 0 loss record. But that hasn't really bothered me, like just taking fights and getting that loss. It's just about fighting for me. But fighting some top European international shows would be, unreal. So
it'd be absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't put a lot of stock into people talk about this having this great, wonderful record of always having the 0 on the other side of the barrier with the tick in the W column. I don't put a lot of stock in that because it's not really about how many times you've won. It's about who you've fought against. And you see the guys. I go back to Johnny Nelson earlier on regarding boxing. What Nelson did, obviously, was he was fighting tougher and tougher and tougher guys, and then one day, it just clicked. And you see him powering on. It was all those years of experience backed up by fitness, by talent, by mental understanding, and that's what people grow and build when they do take on fights like what you've done. Fucking crazy, flying halfway across a fucking planet to your former Eastern Bloc country to take on some psychopath that you've never met before on 24 hours notice. Seriously, where are you going to get that? Where are you going to get that experience? You're not.
No, I didn't even see him weigh in, so he might have been 90 kilos. He looked about 90.
He's definitely 90 kilos. Yes, he was.
Exactly.
So fuck that.
You're not going to get. I think it's done me good, like now, because I'm to get that experience and do what I've done. Like, I don't regret any of it. I don't regret losing. Like, I've just gained from it, really. So that's where it's coming in now. I feel a lot stronger from all these mad things. I like to do crazy things.
Who doesn't? If you know what, whenever you think about it, if you break it down into its most like basal level, the most lower level of what people in combat sports do, you're giving consent to another adult creature to try and knock your fucking teeth out of your head. He's giving the same consent to you. But when you hear the snap of the lock on the cage door, or you hear the final instructions from the coach or the referee, those are times that you remember forever. Those are fabulous memories that 99.9% of the populace of the planet will never fucking have. So that's why I like that sort of experience. And the people say, I was crazy what it did. It might be crazy, but it's a fucking great experience. And you're not going to get that anywhere else. You're not going to get that sweep in the streets. You're going to tell somebody lifted a really heavy bin 2 days ago. Ooh, terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, people say, what's it like, walking out to a fight? Do you get nervous and all this shit? But it's like, you can't explain fully how you feel because that feeling is, like, insane. The buzz you get, you know what I mean? Like, trying to explain how you're feeling as you walk, it's all mental game, but, you can't, you'll have to do it, and, people have to do it, you know what I mean? Like, the normal guy.
You have to do it to experience that. If you have, I think it's in you or it's not in you. mentally and physically, if you have that wish, that want to experience something like that, you have to have a go at it, no matter what low level. And I mean, like, guys that say low level, I don't mean that to be derogatory, any person taking part in combat sport.
Yeah.
But the white collar boxer, right up to the world champion in the UFC or Bellator or KSW, everybody goes through the same mental and physical preparation, but at their own level. And my terminology for this was that the two or 3 seconds before you walk through the curtain or before you hit the ramp is like the most powerful drug in the planet being injected into you, and you have no control over what happens. It's just this crazy rush.
It is crazy, really. And you know, I've seen people like train amazing in the gym. They look unbelievable. You know, hitting pads, sparring, and then as soon as they walk out to a fight, they just completely shut off and crumble. Where, you know, it's like sometimes it's opposite, where they're crap in the gym but amazing at fighting. It's you know, it's hard to balance the both out, and it is hard for a lot of people because you know, they struggle with a mind game. But like I say, if you get that positive mindset and strong mindset, then you'll be flying. But it's just getting it in your head. A lot of people struggle with it. It's mad, really.
You pointed out a fantastic bit, which is it's now becoming more and more part of combat sports. Is mindset. Do you do any specific mindset coaching? I know I did, but do you do any specific mindset coaching?
Yeah, I've got a coach who does he's a mind coach, but he does Ironmans as well. I don't know if you've just seen, but John Wattham is called. He's he lives not far. He don't really like social media out like that, but he does a little bit. He ain't got like a massive following out like that, but yeah, my coach Danny introduced me to him. He's a good mate, and ever since I had one little talk with him and that, I've just clicked with him, and now I'm like training with him, doing swimming. I did like half an Ironman. I don't know if you've seen. I did half an Ironman, and he was like following me around, my coach, and he's just like a really positive guy. And yeah, he does mind coaching with basically, you know, just trying to get a few techniques to do and trying to keep you aware of everything what's going around and stuff like that. But yeah, I've done a bit of mind coaching, but I've always been generally quite strong-minded, and I've always had quite a good mindset. You know, like Danny will tell me, right, there's a fight next week, do you want it? And I'd be like, yeah, and I'll just turn up and fight. Where a lot of people overthink the situation, but I've always been quite strong. But now working with John, now I'm just coming even more. Do you know what I mean? It's like I feel bulletproof now. It's mad.
Oh man, that's brilliant. I love actually hearing that, because it's something that people don't really they focus on. I can deadlift 140, I can bench 110, I can run lifts, I can do that, I've hit pads, but they don't focus on what carries them through that. And what carries them through that is mental fortitude, and it's a huge part of the sport, because you can be in the best physical shape of your career, or how you appear to another person, but inside, you're just going to crumble. And I've seen this happen, and you pointed out, you've seen it happen with guys who, literally, if I was ever going to stand across a cage or ring from, I'd be shitting myself. But knowing what they're going through there and then, you wouldn't be. You would be like, this is good, I've got this. Yeah. That's it. I'm glad to hear that you are focusing on that too. And it seems like you've got a great holistic approach to training, taking on board strong cardiovascular base of Ironmans, triathlons and stuff like that. Do you think that plays into your sport at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think since doing like the half of Ironman, things like that, you know, it's more in your mind, because I can remember like getting halfway in the run, the last final run, and I had another 11K left, and my whole body would have shut down and gone. Like, I was physically done, but the only thing that got me through was my mindset, which that's what you need when you're doing Ironmans, because, you know, it's more like the older guys doing it. There's not many like really young guys doing Ironmans. So, yeah, it's just a nice test of the mental. I like to see how far I can push my mind and stuff. And, yeah, it's really interesting. You know, I'm going to be working with John a lot more now as well, because I'm proper interested in, like, because the mind's a crazy, powerful thing. So
it can be a dangerous place, and it can be a most powerful place in the world. Especially, I think people, you know, in our current state of lockdown, or quarantine, or fucking social distancing, terrible, sort of negative name. Being alone with your mind, for some people, is a difficult place to be, you know. And if you're not a strong-minded, positive person, you're in danger of letting your thoughts. You see people all the time on social media, they're reaching out here trying to find some reason for this shitty disease, whether it be 5G, whether it be
exactly.
really, or made in the lab. Who cares where it comes from? We have to get through. I don't give a fuck. We're gonna, and I think mindset's a powerful thing. You obviously enjoy your half marathons and Ironmans and stuff like that too. I used to do a lot of long distance running, marathons and stuff too, and that's one of the things I found is that your mind is the most powerful tool, and I'm glad you draw a parallel with that too. So you continued on mixed martial arts career then following ACB. Where did you took part in it? The other shows you fought on were in England, weren't they?
Yeah, England. There was Cage Steel in Doncaster. That was my last pro MMA fight. I fought a guy from Denmark, I think. He fought on Cage Warriors a few times. But yeah, they've flown him over. And it was at welterweight, so it was a bit higher. But I managed to secure the win, second round TKO it was. And that was my last one. What was it? I think it was elbows, and then in the end the ref just called it off because I broke away from the cage because he was on the floor. I was like, we'll get it back stood up, and then he kind of just he was fucked on the floor, so we just kind of gas tank went. But yeah, I'll be going back down to 70, but that was about a year and a half ago, so it's been a long time, and I've still been doing a lot of wrestling. Even in that last Jimmy Sweeney fight, I was wrestling through the whole camp. So I like to just keep wrestling, just for strength and conditioning.
The element of your wrestling, you fought. We're going to get on to your BKB career here in a wee second. But what you described there was you wrestled throughout your camp for Jimmy Sweeney. I'm going to draw a parallel between. Do you remember Card Frotch took on George Groves? Yeah. George Groves instituted a great deal of wrestling throughout one of his camps. Because of it, to start help deal with the clinch. Frotch is obviously known for being so powerful and fast that he wanted to try and negate that. I think it was a first fight, obviously, and the first fight took a while for Frotch to get into because of the knockdown in the first round. But he instituted wrestling into his camp as well. This system of strength and conditioning, which it's a nice parallel that a lot of a pure striking art taking on a pure grappling art to try and enhance what they do, which is brilliant to see. So you finished fighting in MMA and Cage Steel. You're not finished in MMA by any stretch of the imagination, but that was your last competitive mixed martial arts fight. You then made a crossover to a sport that I have a great deal of happiness watching now is bare knuckle boxing, or in Britain it's known as an organisation called BKB. How the fuck did that
happen? Crazy, really. Basically, the promoter, they contacted Danny Mitchell, my coach. They offered him some good money to fight on it, and at the time he had a few head problems because he retired, and then he was like, "No, I'm not gonna. I can't fight, but I know I've got a few people that will." So he put my name forward. We went down to London and watched the show. It was at London O2, and I was like, "Bare knuckle box? Is this legit?" And then I've always told Danny I wanted a bare knuckle fight, even if it was legal or illegal. I just wanted to try one, and then. Managed to get me on the first show. It was against Jonny Lawson in Liverpool. It was actually before that MMA fight. I had 2 bare knuckle before that last MMA fight.
Right,
yeah. And then after the MMA fight in December, it was January when I started a tournament. So,
the BKB prizefighter tournament that was?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so, it kind of just... That was it, really. Danny just said, you can fight bare knuckle on this show. I was looking into it, and I was like, it was Jimmy Sweeney this, Jimmy Sweeney everywhere. I was like, he's like the main guy, you know what I mean? I was on all these documentaries and stuff like that. So, as soon as we went down to London and watched it, I was like, I need to get on this show. I really do. So, that was it, really.
It's an amazing, literally, I must get the live show. I will get the live show. But it's a fantastic event. It's bare knuckle, for anybody who hasn't really seen it, what are the rule differences between that and what we describe as glove boxing or average Western boxing? What are the differences in the rules?
So the only difference is 2-minute rounds in bare knuckle. Obviously, there's 3 in boxing, and there's like an 18 count, 18-20 count in if you get knocked down instead of 10. And then it's obviously shorter rounds. It starts off 3 rounds, and then you get to like a British title, it's 5 rounds, and then world title is 7 rounds, which I've been. So yeah, it's a lot shorter rounds because obviously the impact. It's a lot faster pace as well.
The pace is something, that somebody hasn't seen it, and you're used to. Even fast guys, take fast British boxers, take somebody like Kid Galahad, who's a very, very fast British boxer, when that's with the 8 or 10s on. And then you transplant somebody like you, Jonny Lawson, Jimmy Sweeney, Smudger Smith, and you see that fucking hand speed difference. It is like a blur. And it is simply because, as you said, you're not carrying that. The wind resistance, the air resistance is different. Your gloves are off. The hand speed difference is frightening. And that was what struck me initially. I was like, holy shit, fucking speed of this. You, obviously with MMA, we talked a wee bit about this at the start. You didn't find that transition too different because of the 4-ounce gloves. I asked Smudger this too. Technically wise, in a bare knuckle fight, what do you find technically difficult compared to amateur boxing or to mixed martial arts?
Technically different. I think it's mainly like you can't cover up. You know, obviously in boxing you can kind of cover up and just take a bit of punishment. So that's like a big thing, like for boxers, if they want to come in, they can't just cover up like this, because if you do, you're just going to get absolutely smashed a bit. So for me, it's like a lot similar to MMA. You've got to be in and out, just sharp. You can't like stay in, there's nowhere to like run really. It's pretty, it's a strange thing, obviously, you know, no gloves, which is for me, it's like similar to MMA. So, but yeah, I'd say mainly just, you know, you can't cover up and just take punishment. So it's a strange one if you've just come straight from boxing. Definitely,
it's so far removed from what people would understand professional boxing to be, that they think. We usually have the example of Malnaji and Artem Lobov earlier on, but there are other examples too of guys coming from pro boxing in. Tyler Goodjohn's a former pro boxer, yet he's now in the MMA ranks too, in the BKB ranks. But
BKB, yeah.
You have other guys making the crossover and then going, fuck, this isn't for me, because there are so many differences. We even discussed things like body punching. Do you find body punching different in bare knuckle boxing, obviously, because there's an awful lot more things that go wrong, where a glove can be quite forgiving, you know, an elbow shot, or you can't risk that with no gloves on. So do you find body punching different?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I've worked a lot of like, I like to just jab the body. That's like a really good one for me. It works well. But then if you're coming in smashing punches in, obviously there's that chance you can hit the elbow. But if you can get underneath that elbow and get the timing right, then it'll be really effective, because obviously a bare knuckle punch to your stomach, that's going to wind them bad or break a rib. So yeah, it's highly effective, but it can be quite dangerous. You know, if you punch their elbow, that could be a knuckle broken straight away. So yeah, I don't throw too many unless I'm in tight. But in my last fight, I was only just throwing jabs to the body, like long jabs, keeping them in that range, which I like. It's my style, yeah.
No, so, it's something that I even for mixed martial arts and for Western boxing, that I always coach and teach people is to throw the jab to the body. It's it's underused. I mean, you're occupying the person's hands. You're also occupying your opponent's mind. You're keeping a good distance, and you're setting up other things. You're seeing how that person reacts and downloading this information as you're getting it thrown to you. So it's nice to hear when somebody else does something that I like and coach and teach and see as a real benefit that it's neglected an awful lot. But that's interesting that you would really focus on jabs to the body to occupy the mind and hands, and then maybe move on to something else. With regards to bare knuckle, again, throwing hooks to the head without a gloved hand, do you find that there's an angle specifically you want to put your hand in? A lot of people talk about the horizontal fist with the knuckles to the sky, or the vertical fist with the knuckles to the opponent. What do you prefer, or do you think there's even a reason behind
it? Yeah, a lot of people like different hooks, and I basically just keep with the same one, so it's just the normal
vertical,
boxing.
yeah.
I feel if I do this,
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be definitely effective, but it's just awkward. I'd never really thrown a hook like that, so I just keep it basic. I feel like I get a lot more power doing it normal, and it's worked for me because I think I've knocked like 2 people out with a left hook in BKB. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of people throw wild overhands, but it's just trying to play it smart as well as doing these crazy shots, because I think the more smarter and technical you are in bare knuckle, then the less damage you're going to take, and you can't. It's not really a long career, so if you wave, for example, Tyler Goodjohn comes in. He's had 3 fights in a long time, couple of years, but he just stands there with his hands against his face, taking the punishment. Because he moves his head well, but he's flat-footed. Like he don't really move his. I like to be in and out, where he just stands there like taking everything, and like his face is a mess, his hands are a mess.
Oh, his hands, like it's the mess. Some of the brutal punishment, and that's not from landing. That's from absorbing shots to the outside of the hand.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
I've
never had that. I've never had that since I've had 6 bare knuckle fights, and my style, I like to be in and out, moving, playing it smart, because you need to be smart in this game. You can't be, unless you want an early career or brain damage, you're just going to wave in like that.
Not even necessarily the sudden and concussive impact of blows to the head. It's the scarring that you will end up with. Talked about this last week with Smudger. Even the lightest touch of a sharp knuckle can split the eye, can split underneath the eye, can damage the nose, and therefore you're looking through blood. You might not be physically hurt, but you're blinded by what's happening, and you're ending up with stitches, and it looks like shit. Even if you're beating the shit out of the guy, you see the referee or whoever's judging. I'm not too sure about how the judging works in BKB. That's really ignorant of me. But might sway it in the opposite guy's favour. I see a guy like you, as you rightly pointed out, who attempts to, if you want boxes, to use his skill in and out and move, head movement, hand defences, foot defences. And another guy like Conor Tierney being quite similar. Conor's quite like that too. Nice, fast hand, uses his head movement really well, flits in and out. I see a great deal of similarity between both you and him.
Yeah. I fought Conor in the semi-finals.
Yeah. He beat Jonny Lawson, I think, in the first round of that, and he moved into the semis.
Yeah, he beat Jonny Lawson, yeah. And then I had Sean McFarland in the... So basically, this is what happened in the prize fight, right? In that last MMA fight in December, I broke my hand, and it's still pretty knackered now. I've got a big lump. I basically got some real bad ligament damage. I was going to a private specialist, and I thought, I've just entered this tournament I'm in, and the first fight's January. I'm off to see who I match up, and I matched up with Sean McFarland, and I thought, right, this is perfect. I got a steroid injection in it, try and recover, but it was knackered. I couldn't train on it, but I just kept it quiet for the whole time. But I thought, right, we've got Sean, so he's a small dude. He likes to come waving in, so I'm just going to keep him on the end of my jab, try and beat him with my left hand, and everything went to plan. My left was sharp, and I was just cutting him with my left jab. And then, I managed to finish. I switched to southpaw and threw a left down the middle, and it finished him. He had massive cuts everywhere, so that went perfect. And then the same with Conor Tierney. He's a good amateur boxer, so he likes to be upright. And the game plan with him just went same again. I couldn't throw my right hand through the whole of the training camp, so. I was working that combination that I knocked him out with, jab to the head, body to the right to the body, and then back up with a left hook. I basically, when we was warming up in the back, I must have threw it 30 times, like getting the timing right. And the timing had to be perfect, and we kept doing it, and then it was weird how it just happened in the fight. It was like, this is going to work because he's upright. He's going to throw this, and then like my team, we come up with this good little game plan, and obviously in a boxing fight it might have been different, but BKB is completely different. And this combination, just like honestly, the timing and everything was perfect. So yeah, that went.
No, it's a great finish.
Really well as well.
It is a brilliant finish, and I remember Johnny fighting Conor, and I didn't really know much about Conor at the time, and Johnny was telling me who it was he was competing against, and then there wasn't much footage on him. There wasn't anything of him, to be honest with you, so we didn't really know anything. And then turns out he's a very, very slick, upright amateur, as you described, but you dealt with him pretty handily with that finish, and it set you up then to move on into the final.
Yeah. So the final went in, and that was when I could just start sparring again with my right hand. So it was weird how I had two bare knuckle fights and my hand's getting better, and I'm like, what's going on?
How does that work? Yeah.
I kept going to specialists all the time, and it cost a fortune, but it was worth it. And then, 7 round fight. There's not much time into in between fights. It's probably like 8 weeks, I think, 2 months, which is not like massive recovery from a bare knuckle fight. Not a great thing
as well from bare knuckle, as we talked about the damage, the scar tissue damage. Even if you don't get it, like you're not a guy who gets hit a lot either.
No. Yeah.
But even then, you're coming up out of those things marked. It's like MMA. You might think, I didn't get hit, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh my fuck, who the fuck did that? You think somebody's hit you in your sleep or something. It's the same with BKB. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, my skin's like pretty tough. It's like weird Portuguese skin. It's like
Portuguese leather.
It is like leather, and I don't really like bruise much. To be fair, like I've had 2 7-round fights, and my face has not been like massively. Obviously, it looks worse in the picture, but when you wash the blood off, it's not bad.
No, but those pictures are superb. Actually, they're brilliant. They're really well done.
Yeah, they're really good. Yeah,
very media savvy, cracking picture. So your final then? Who were you in against the final?
It was James Connolly in the final. A Brummie lad, and really tough guy. That was a tough fight. I kind of felt like a lot of pressure for the final, and there was, we both brought like 100 fans each, and it was just like a big build-up, and I felt like there was quite a bit of pressure. And then, training went well, the camp went well, and things like that. And then I just couldn't really perform how I wanted to. I couldn't really get my game plan going. But I managed to win in the 7 rounds. I won most of the rounds, but it was a tough, awkward fight. He kept bending down a lot, which that was kind of his game plan, because he knew I was going to come in with that left hook again.
Yeah.
But it was a tough, awkward fight, and fair play. It was 7-rounder as well.
That's a difficult time. I mean, even people who don't really understand sport, and I remember listening to a quote from Muhammad Ali. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but he said that if you don't understand how difficult boxing is, just get up with one of your friends and wrestle around for a minute and see how tired you get. Yeah. And you're like, fuck me, you try doing that for 7 times 2 with no gloves on, with another man trying to knock your teeth down your throat. It's a really difficult ask in fitness, and it's a really testament again to how mentally and physically tough you are. So the prize, if there was a fucking prize out of that, yes, there was a monetary value, but the other prize was to face world bare knuckle champ at the time, a monstrously famous individual in bare knuckle fighting, a guy called Jimmy Sweeney, a guy from an Irish traveller background, English gentleman, but from an Irish traveller background, who had basically just fucking wiped the floor with anybody else he had ever faced in bare knuckle boxing. What was that like, knowing you were going to face Jimmy Sweeney?
That was great. It was like a weird feeling, like, oh yeah, this has come true. It's finally come true. I'm actually fighting him, because we talked about it since I started bare knuckle, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna fight Jimmy one day. I'm gonna definitely fight him, and I'll beat him. And I think it was like, since I entered this tournament, all that I was thinking about is, I'm going to be fighting Jimmy when I beat all these guys. And I'm like, so every day I just kept waking up thinking, right, Jimmy's there, and I'm going to fight him. I just need to get through these 3 fights. And this is why I didn't pull out, because of me broken ankle. I'm like, here's my chance to like fight him. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's going to be a long process. So I thought, this is like a quick route to fight Jimmy Sweeney. And then, it was mad out. It was a good feeling, like, fighting him. It was an honour to fight him, you know what I mean? Just to fight the guy, and then never mind beating him.
Yeah, people don't really understand what it's like, as a fighter, to really want something like that. And for you, I'm not really a believer in religion or anything like that, but I think some things there are fate. The fate does exist in life, and I mean that was preordained from the first minute you got into that first round of the prize fighter. It seemed that, you know, that you had willed this into existence, that you would put all your mental. We talked about mental toughness earlier, but you focused a lot on what your mental fortitude was on. That you knew someday you're going to be in there against the great Jimmy Sweeney for a world title. But to come out on top of Jimmy Sweeney, fuck me. What was it like sharing the ring with the dude? Did he do anything different from the other guys, or was there something that didn't surprise you, or was there some things that did surprise you?
No, it didn't surprise. I expected it all. Do you know what I mean? So I expected him to everything, like, because I visualized it that many times in my head. Everything just like was perfect. My game plan just went perfect because I visualized it that many times. And then compared to my final, to that was like two completely different performances where I don't think my head was fully on for that final. I made a few mistakes just before I went out, like mentally. I made a few mistakes where I thought, right, I'm not doing that again, or I'm not doing this again. And then I went into the next one fully prepared, like, but in that final, I'm glad I went 7 rounds because it got to like the 5th round and it was that mentally and physically like draining. It was just a test to see if I can push through this. And after I pushed through that, all right, if I can do that, then I can, you know what I mean, do it again.
Yeah.
So when I went into that Jimmy fight, it was a good feeling, like, you know, fighting Jimmy Sweeney. This is it. I've made it. Now I felt no pressure. I've nothing to lose. I'm fighting the best in the game. He's got the pressure on him. So I think, yeah, like the mental state from the final to the Jimmy Sweeney fight was like completely different. Like I didn't have no pressure. I felt 100% like on it. You know what I mean? Everything went perfect. No injuries. Fight camp went perfect. It was mad.
It's amazing. It's a fantastic fight story, and it is one of those things that you look on and, well, look, this was just meant to be in life. You know, it is one of those things that, and you came through it. I remember seeing the build up a wee bit to that, and I would always be as honest as I possibly could with you. I'd seen you fight before, and I knew how fucking good you were. You beat Jonny Lawson, you beat Conor Tierney, you went on to win that final, and you're now, but Sweeney, I thought, was just going to be a bit too much. I thought he's a bit different kettle of fish. And holy fuck, you just were like a different dude. Great fight. I even watched a wee bit of it today again, just to remind myself. Just tremendous. I couldn't give you enough. I can't say how cool it was to watch you come through that even more than it is. I'm sure it felt fucking fantastic just to get your hand raised at the end of those 7 rounds.
Yeah, I think I shocked a lot of people, like, you know, because like from the last performance to this one, I boxed, you know what I mean? I kind of like boxed it, and I was more technical.
Yeah.
So it's weird because like I kind of adapt to each different fight like in a different way. Like obviously that fight I just had to slug it out. In another fight I had to be technical. Like in the Jimmy fight, I knew exactly what I had to do, and yeah, it was weird, but the whole game plan just went perfect. So yeah, it was mainly just I was trying to use my reach. Like it was like jab for jab a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I knew he likes that double jab, then left hook. He loves that. So I was kind of.
You could see.
I kind of see it before he threw it.
And I think obviously that plays into the fact that you've become a student of the game, and you see Jimmy Sweeney throwing a double jab, bringing the right shoulder forward to throw the left hook after. A lot of people would have in between that tried to break up that rhythm and throw the straight right. And I think if you're doing that, he knows. I know what's coming. He's already set up to throw that left hook. But again, it obviously shows that you watched a lot of tape and you'd studied what Jimmy Sweeney's known for doing. It was just a fantastic performance. It was one of those fights that nobody would have believed the outcome, and yet there it is for everybody to see. Are you fighting Jimmy again in a rematch whenever this lockdown shit ends?
Yeah, I definitely think I think that'll happen. Mm-hmm. I reckon it'll happen next, to be fair. Well, Jimmy's he's scheduled to fight Tyler Goodjohn next.
Yeah.
Basically for like this new title, I think it is like a tiny bit lower, maybe 73 kilo. That was meant to be the next fight, and then I was fighting the winner of that. But basically, I don't know they're still meant to be fighting. It's still scheduled, but I can't. I've got a feeling Tyler's not going to fight him.
Right.
There's been a bit of like. There's been a few rumours knocking about, and I don't think he wants to fight him. To be fair, but I personally think Jimmy would win that fight anyway, just from the style and his experience.
I think if Tyler stands with his hands up the way he does, he's inviting somebody like Jimmy Sweeney to land on him, and I think that only could, unless he changes his style. And I mean, you know, people say Leopard never changes his spots. Well, I think people can learn and change and grow and do everything, but unless he changes that, he's in for a tough night, a really tough night.
Yeah, definitely. Fighting someone like Tyler, that would be, I'd rather fight Tyler than like James Connolly or Jimmy Sweeney. Like, I think it'd be a lot easier. I'm not saying he's rubbish, because he's not. He's a good boxer. No, he's
not. He's a brilliant boxer. He's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. But it's just, as we talked about earlier, it's a different sport.
It's a completely different sport. And, he's won 3 fights, but he's never stopped anyone. And one fight nearly, they've all gone the distance. But I just think my style would be too much, like too long, my range. Obviously anything can happen, but it'll be, everyone's got different styles, you know what I mean? But I think Jimmy will definitely win that, and then I'll be fighting a rematch. But I think a rematch will definitely happen anyway.
Yeah, it's again, if you can bring 100 tickets, or you can sell 100 tickets and bring 100 people to the prize fighter final, you could probably bring 300 to that. So I mean, and if people don't go, they're out of their fucking mind. It's really like a brilliant Cinderella story in that respect for you. It's one of those great fight sports stories that I love, and I think if you work hard, you get lucky. That proves that luck doesn't really exist. Yeah. It's just fucking hard work and opportunity, and taking opportunity by the hand whenever it's required. What is next then? Say for Sigmar and Tony says to you, look, BKB is done. What do you do next? What is next on the horizon then for Rico?
MMA. Just basically, the plan was obviously this year, which is like ruined now.
2020, fucking reset, please. Like, bring back Brexit. That's what I say. I like Brexit now because of this shit.
Yeah, it's completely wasted. Hopefully September-ish we can maybe get going again. We'll see. But obviously I'm staying in shape. I'm pretty much, like I say, give me a few weeks, I'll be fight ready, I'm fight ready now, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But the plan was to have a few MMA fights just to get my foot in the door again, because it's been a year and a half. I'm not expecting just to go on a massive show because of BKB, but I won't mind a steady couple of fights back in, and some good shows again, and then I want to see, because I've been wrestling a lot lately. And I want to test what I'm like in MMA now, because I think I'll be a completely different fighter. Yeah. Having that BKB experience now, I think, I think I'm going to be a completely different in the cage now. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Yeah. A year and a half out, and my mindset's different. My body, like everything's different. You know what I mean? And since my last MMA fight, I would say, actually, when was it? So it's been probably that whole last year, everything was amazing, but I suffer with, have you heard of Crohn's disease?
Sadly, yes, I do. A very good friend of mine, one of my best friends as a child, died a few, 6 or 7 years ago due to complications from immune damage from Crohn's. Yeah, one of my best friends, and a guy who was a fucking phenomenally talented martial artist too. He was taken with basically a respiratory damage, and it came just due to his immune system being so badly complicated because of Crohn's all his life. It's a fucker of a disease. Absolutely hateful.
Yes, yeah. So I basically got that. I've got that, and I've been struggling for years with it. And like I say, all these like amateur fights and probably all my pro fights, even on last minutes, and I shouldn't have fought because I've been ill as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of them I definitely shouldn't have fought. And it's only been these past probably year and a half since my last MMA fight where I've been able to do proper camps and I've not had any problems with my stomach. Touch wood, it's under control. Everything's going perfect. Like, you know what I mean? My health-wise is never been so good. I think obviously changing my diet and the treatment I'm on now, because I was allergic to every treatment I used to have, so it used to cause me complications. And I was at the stage where they nearly took my whole bowels out, which would have probably ruined everything. I wouldn't have been able to fight again.
No,
So
your life would be
yeah.
literally just uprooted overnight. But something like that, it's such a
Yeah.
debilitating, fucking hateful affliction that, again, it's a disease that most people, if you were to mention it, don't really know much about. But if you were to stand in a circle of 10 people and you were to talk about it, 3 or 4 would know at least one person.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It affects everything. It affects your ability to absorb nutrients. It affects your ability to basically just exist. But you're accepting different levels of food choices throughout life, and the inflammation damage that it causes to the other portions of the body, as we discussed, the damage to the immune system, your weakness, your resistance to infection. It's hateful. How do you find that with your diet then? I mean, obviously the diet is just one of the most fucking important portions of being a competitive martial artist or a competitive human being. Every cell in our body is created by something we've shoved into your mouth. So how do you find your diet, Crohn's?
Yeah, I struggled at first because I didn't know, you know, they kept telling me all these different things, and then I was allergic to all these treatments. But yeah, I think, like, because of the weight cuts I used to do all the time, that really didn't help. And then that's why I ended up going to welterweight a little bit and having a few at there just to testing it out. But now it's under control. I've never been so good in my life like right now, but I have been like real bad before, and it was a kind of test of the mental as well. Like I say, I want confident back like a few years ago. Like, my mindset was really low because it was like this was like knocking me out, and yeah, it kind of set me back like a lot, to be fair. And then since, I'd say, like I say, year and a half, I'd probably say 2 years, year and a half is where I've kind of come out my shell more, and like I've changed so much just because my stomach's under control now. And it's mad, really, like, to think.
It's such a horrible disease. And again, I'm just going to go back and point out that if anybody doesn't really think that it's such a brutal, horrible disease, it's such a life-limiting condition. And the fact that you have gone on to fight as an amateur, a professional mixed martial artist, and now a professional bare-knuckle boxer, and become world champion, is a thorough testament to how strong you are mentally and physically, especially being, you know, anybody to do a quarter of what you've done is a great achievement, but to do all of what you've done with this in the background is horrendous. People will remember watching Brock Lesnar fight a mate of mine, Alistair Overeem, and Alistair burying him with these knees to the chest and torso. And he had diverticulitis. He had a life-limiting condition there until he was operated on, you know. So we recognise it there, but we don't see it here. It's a fucking hateful disease. So congratulations again for being a tough bastard with that. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, when I took fights, so that was my choice, and that was a choice like I made, and so that's why I didn't make excuses ever. I never mentioned it throughout you know, I've had it for like 6 years now, but it's my choice. If I wanted to fight, I can't be saying, I lost because I was ill, but that's my choice. So
you've given that person consent, you know, and that's you've done it without talking about it too. I mean, there's plenty of people that, you know, take David Haye. He stood up on top of a fucking desk once and complained about having a toe injury, is why he lost to Klitschko. You're like, catch yourself on, David. Really, but then you have something like that with you, and it interrupts your nutrient transport chain. It interrupts immunity and training ability and sleep patterns and fucking everything. And yet you're able to continue on and achieve so much and do what you do. And Ironman's, it is truly fantastic, you know, and don't fucking stop and keep going. And maybe somebody like you who is so physically powerful and strong and in the public eye in a way can maybe put a spotlight on something like Crohn's that isn't there. In the past, it's never been discussed or talked about. It is a disease that needs more research into as well, so we can find some way of combating it effectively, either with drug therapy or whatever other arrow is in the quiver, whether it be surgery or dietary requirements. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think definitely I was gonna do something to like raise awareness for Crohn's and colitis. You know, like maybe I'm gonna try and do a full Ironman next year. I might raise money for that instead. But this one I just done. I did it for like my mum's charity, so that's like a rare condition. She passed away nearly 6 years ago, so that was like a rare. That was when I just got diagnosed with this thing as well. So it was like it was mad. Yeah, it's been like a crazy like 5 years. Like, you know what I mean? It's mental. What's happened in 5 years? Can't even explain. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just like now, like that's why I feel like my mind's like a bulletproof mindset now, because you know things that have happened is just mad, really, and just makes you a stronger person. So
yeah, 100%. Going through stuff like that.
I believe everything does happen for a reason, really. So you just got to kind of. Sometimes you may not know what the reason is for, but you just got to
and search for the learning. And you know, people, I hear this all the time, but people go, "Yeah, everything happens for a reason." Yeah, it probably fucking does. Some of them are shit reasons, though, and some of them are good reasons. I think it's trying to find the learning in every reason why something happens. You know,
yeah, exactly.
You know, why is this happening to me right now? What can I learn from it? And can I pick a positive or grow from whatever it is, whether it be a fight, whether it be an illness, destruction, whether it be learning more about the body, nutrition, mindset, whatever. There's always something there, and you rightly pointed out, so positive and such a great, strong way of doing it. But no, man, it's a very, very interesting topic there. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a few fighters. Do you know Alex Enlington? Is it Alex Enlington? He was on Cage Warriors. I think he just signed a contract with the UFC.
Right.
He's from South Shields. Alex, and I can't remember his last name, but yeah, he basically had Crohn's, and he got a contract with UFC, but then he had like a bad flare up, and something went wrong with his medicals, and he had to get released because he couldn't fight again.
I mean, that's the other side of that too. You could be going through nothing with Crohn's, and then something just triggers it off, whether it be stress in life, whether it be poor sleep, whether it be a bad portion of the diet, i.e. you have something that you don't know is in that food, and it blasts into the gut and causes a great deal of inflammation. And you're unaware of that at the time, but it's just too fucking late. So I feel sorry for that dude, especially if you've worked so hard to get the, level in the sport. It's a shit way to unfortunately have that at the end. But hopefully for him, he gets over it and gets back to some sort of competition.
Yeah, that's it. So it's mad, really. But yeah, that, like, even just doing that half an Ironman, I feel like I've learnt quite a bit just from doing that. Something crazy. And it's like, you don't realise how much you need nutrition for your performance either. Like, I did know that over the last year or so, I've gotten so much like knowledge in the last year. But even just doing that, just like a one-off crazy thing, like I've learnt quite a bit just from that. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah. No, nutrition is such now. Thankfully, the science is out there for everybody to see. And used to be behind closed doors bullshit, bro science in the gym, And now, thankfully, we can really understand more about, as I said, every cell that we live in, every cell that makes up us as a creature is literally created by something we have put into your mouth. And when you think about it like that, you want the deepest quality from the best sources at the right time to make this a better, more efficient, long-lasting, good machine. And I think that's part of nutrition that I've learned and grown with over a long period of time now too. But it's nice to see somebody else like you picking on that now too and taking, making it a serious part of their game.
And even like, I think nutrition, even if like you're a general person who, like, just say you struggle with like mindset or something like that, even if you just change your nutrition, like you're saying, like you have a good, like, balanced diet every day, it's going to make you feel good about yourself. It's going to like change a lot of things, like, you know what I mean?
I always use a good example is you wouldn't put diesel into a jet engine,
Exactly, yeah.
You want to perform like a fucking top fighter. You want to perform like the best fighter jet on the planet, but you're filling it up with low-grade diesel. it's not going to go very fast. It's not going to perform well. All its motions are going to be slow, and it might even seize up and fall out of the sky at some point in its life. And you don't want to be that fighter pilot. You don't want to be that jet. You want to be the guy in high octane fuel, the best it can get at the time, with your proper rest, recovery, water. It's one of those big things. More water for humans every day, that will help you perform and lubricate the body systems and work at their best. So it's nice to hear that you're paying
massive,
attention to that too.
Yeah, like I say, I've learned a lot just from changing my diet for my stomach. So if it helps that, like, I think diet can cure a lot of things. Like if you really, you know what I mean. I know one of my pals from where I am, he had colitis and he had to have his bowels removed, but he just couldn't. He said he couldn't mentally diet and change his diet up. But, you know what I mean. It's either that or get your stomach removed. I'm like, I know what I'll be doing.
I'd be doing everything I possibly could. I would go on to see a hypnotist or try anything just to try and control that urge to eat garbage, and rather than have a very skilled surgeon remove portions that you're going to need for nutrient transport. I don't think I'd be doing that. No, it's it's mad. It's crazy. Humans are crazy creatures. I love humans. They're mad as fuck though. They are. We're all weird in their own wonderful way, but
absolutely,
completely barking mad. Here, I'm not going to keep you much longer today. You have been awesome guest, absolutely awesome guest. Before we draw this to a close, I've got a couple of questions I like asking people, just to let people know the internal Rico, let's just say. What was the best book you've ever read?
Book? I'd say Ant Middleton.
First Man
Mind Over Matter.
Oh, this Mind Over Matter?
Was it?
First Man In.
Mind Over.
Was it?
Is it the first one? I think it was.
Yeah, First Man. I actually have it here. Give me a second. I'll look it up and tell you exactly what it is. I
actually read that not long ago. It was. I don't read loads of books, but I like to read some good ones. I've heard Mike Tyson's pretty good. I haven't read that one yet.
Fuck, tell you what, get that book. I've read it, right? Yes, his first book was called First Man In, Ant Middleton. I've read it here as well. The Mike Tyson, it's called Undisputed Truth, his autobiography. Just simply, holy fuck. Just
really.
There's bit now. It's made me. I like Mike Tyson as a competitive sportsman, but as a human being, he's horrible. And he even admits it himself. He says at the end that I wasn't such a card, I would blow my brains out because I'm such a horrible piece of shit. His treatment of women is fucking just like the worst you'll ever imagine. And the stories he tells about drug use and fucking robbing houses while he's boxing professionally, nuts. Get his book. It's fucking brilliant. Get it. It's fantastic.
Jesus.
Yeah,
definitely will.
Brilliant. But Ant Middleton's your best book.
I think that's a sick book, super positive, and like you say, it's all mindset stuff. So I'm proper into that in a minute, and it's just it's really good.
So after that, best film you've ever watched?
Best film? It's a tough one.
Or favorite film? Not necessarily the best, because some have like a go-to film they like watching when they're alone at home. But rather than the best cinematic genius piece you've ever seen.
Jesus, what is it called? I've completely gone blank. Can't even think. Come back to me for that one.
All right. Last one. Are you a gamer or not? Do you play games, video games?
No, I don't know.
No.
I have done in the past.
I always would say,
probably say.
Call of Duty there. High five.
Call of Duty is pretty good. To be fair, I like my war films.
Good.
Have you watched Lone Survivor? That's pretty good.
Yes, watched Lone Survivor recently. Actually, Mark Wahlberg one.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's a long film, but I like Law Abiding Citizen. That's one of my favourite films.
Yeah, we all could see ourselves doing that. That's why we like it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like war films and like action films. You know what I mean? Stuff like Law Abiding Citizen. I don't even know what my favourite film is, to be honest. There's that many. It'll probably come into my head after.
You'll probably get, once we're here, we go, for fuck's sake, I should have said it was like Shawshank
Redemption.
What's your favourite film? Favourite film is Blazing Saddles. It was it's an old Mel Brooks film. It's before my birth even. But it's basically a comedy, but about a black sheriff in a white town. If you've never seen it, you have to watch it. It's an anti-racism and anti-discrimination film, but it is fucking hilarious. It's voted the funniest film of all time. It is outstanding, outstanding. That's my favorite film. But I love all genres of films like horror, action. I really love Law Abiding Citizen. Love things like The Equalizer, any Denzel Washington film, basically, when you have things like Training Day and stuff like that, out of this world, great shows. So those are my sort of films as well, but Blazing Saddles is number one by far. Great show.
There's so many, aren't there? There's loads.
and see now, because you're not going out as much, you're watching all weird shit of the dead you haven't seen in years, and you're like, this is fucking great.
Exactly.
You know why you didn't? Do you know why you didn't watch it? Because you had more shit to do in life. That's why you didn't fucking watch it. So here before.
I watched a new series called Afterlife. It's just been on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's like the most funniest, saddest film I've ever watched.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais is superb though. He is just so clever. His writing style is brilliant. Like how do you even think of that? How do you even think of that shit?
I don't know.
I'm glad there are
Such
people like
a funny
that.
Guy.
Oh, brilliant! Fucking great. Really, Ricky Gervais as well is really into animal rights and animal, health, anti-animal cruelty, which gives him a big high five from me too, because it makes him like a human being. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love dogs. Dogs are amazing.
Yeah. My wee tiny rescue dog is hiding outside the door here. She hasn't pushed the door open. She normally comes in and wants to sit with me, so she'll be pissed off at me here being in here for a minute.
Yeah, I've got 2 rescue dogs as well. I love them.
I couldn't be without her. Couldn't be without her. My partner thinks that if we didn't get her, I would have ended up in a lunatic asylum. I was just, she was like, yeah, you're mental. You're going to end up in an asylum if you don't get a dog. So I ended up with a dog.
I think mine said that as well.
There you go. There's something in this. It has to be. The dog is your savior. Before we
they are, definitely.
They are a savior. They fucking are. They're better than humans. And they're wonderful.
100%.
A mate of mine, his analogy of how you know who's your best friend, either your partner or your dog, as he says, here's a test for you. You lock them both in the boot of a car for half an hour, and when you come back, you work out who's happier to see you. And I was like, fuck.
Exactly. I've seen that somewhere before. That was hilarious.
It's brilliant. Pure fucking genius. Before we finally go, and I let you get on with your life, is there any sponsors or teammates, trainers, coaches, fighters, friends you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously all my sponsors. There's too many to name, but they all know who they are. But yeah, my sponsors are a massive help in my career, because I don't work. This is my job full time, so I'm training full time. I rely on my sponsors to help me out. So yeah, they're a massive help, all different ways, like to help me. And so yeah, it's massive really to have some good sponsors on board. Obviously my whole team, AVT, all my training partners, not just AVT. I've got some back at home in Gainsborough, which helped me a lot. All my coaches as well. I've got a few different coaches for like strength and conditioning, and the main man, Danny Mitchell, head coach.
Danny Mitchell's a funny man on social media as well.
He is. Yeah, he's
funny.
He's a funny guy. He's a really good coach, like really knowledgeable coach. He knows some great guys, and he's a really good friend as well. So yeah, we've got a good bond, good, funny, strong bond we have. So yeah, he's a main guy. Yeah, just everyone's who's involved in my camps. Obviously, my partner, she's won't be where I am as well if it wasn't for her. Helps me out and supports me every day. She grafts her ass off as well. So yeah, she's a big help as well. So yeah, and my dogs as well.
Yeah, I can't leave those out.
Get my dogs.
Where can people find you on social media? What platforms are you on? What is your call out on social media?
Yeah, on my social media, it's Rico'Bon Franco, Facebook and Instagram. I don't really use Twitter, but yeah, don't ask about the bonbons. I used to eat a lot of bonbons back in the day. That's basically where they come from.
So anybody wants to find you, they can find you on Rico'Bon Franco on Instagram and on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, listen, Rico, it's been a fucking great chat. Absolutely loved having you on the show. Big thanks to you. Congratulations again on that BKB 19 win against Jimmy Sweeney. Again, out of this world performance. Can't describe enough. Go and find it on YouTube. Find it wherever you can. You can find a stream of it. Go and watch it. You can't fail to be impressed. In fact, you can't fail to be impressed with BKB overall. It's a great show. Fair play for actually bringing that together and packaging a sport that people would have thought was basically competed in by Irish travellers in a shed somewhere. Great show. Love it. Great history as well behind the bare knuckle sport across the planet. So can't get enough of it. Thank you again for coming on the show. Huge shout out to yourself and your team for helping me get this off.
Thank you.
Absolutely not. You're more than welcome. Folks, so this brings us to a close. At Not Another Fightcast, obviously we know this is a very weird time in the world. We are more than grateful for any person who takes time out of their day, or their living conditions, or their working day to give us a like, what is that word? Subscribe and a share. Obviously what it is a mixture of those two together. Well, we post this onto YouTube, and in the future we will have an audio version which will go back up on the Pinecast and onto all the other podcast platforms. When you listen to Spotify or any of these other ones, that will be uploaded onto that eventually. You can find us on the socials, which is a thing. So people say socials don't talk shit. On the socials at Not Another Fightcast on Instagram and on Facebook, and now on YouTube. We also have a Spreadshirt where you can buy some Not Another Fightcast merchandise, which I'm clearly not wearing. I'm wearing Jeff the Hummer Hall t-shirt. So, folks, thank you very much for your time. And Rico, thank you again for your time. If you want to follow me on the social media, you can find me at @the_icon77. And my co-host as well, who's sadly not here, is Mr. PC_commentary on Instagram and on Twitter. Sorry, not on Twitter, on Facebook as well. That leaves us just to say, once again, thank you to Rico, Franco, BKB World Champion. We have been Not Another Fightcast, and thank you for your time, folks. We'll be back very soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.